Chandler, fire someone.
Right away, sir.
Welcome to Decoding History. I am Professor Atlas, and I will be your guide. Are you ready to take this journey with me? We'll see.
Every American kid learns the same story. The British burned the White House in 1814. It was painted white to cover the scorch marks. It's a great story. Patriotic, repeated for over 100 years. There's just one problem. It's completely false. Today we find out what really happened, and is more interesting than the myth.
To understand where we are going, we must first uncover where we've been.
You've heard the story. Now hear what actually happened. August 24th, 1814. The United States is barely 38 years old, and its capital is about to face its darkest night. British troops, retaliating for American attacks on Canadian soil, marched directly toward the president's residence, undefended and mostly abandoned. The building they are about to destroy has been standing for just 14 years, and it is already painted white. The roof of the White House collapses. The interior is gutted, but the sandstone exterior walls, already painted white, survive. Furniture, documents, curtains, everything inside turns to ash. One item is saved at the last second. By morning, the most powerful symbol of the young American Republic is a burnt shell. But here is what the legend gets wrong.
History doesn't lie. People do.
Look at the walls. The white paint is underneath the scorch marks, not on top of them. The building was already white before the fire.
So in the plan of the city of Washington made by a French-American architect in 1791, it already shows the president's house and not the White House.
In fact, a letter written in 1812, 2 years before the British ever arrived, already calls it the White House. The nickname existed before the fire. March 1812. Congressman Abijah Bigelow is writing a letter to his wife back home in Massachusetts. In it, he casually mentions visiting the White House, as we call it, referring to the president's home. A throwaway line, a nickname already in common use. This letter was sent 2 years before, which means the building was called the White House, long before any cover-up story was ever possible. The legend has the fire as the origin of everything, the white paint, the name, but the evidence was always there, hiding in plain sight. Historians have known about this letter for decades, so why does the fire story keep getting told? Because the real reason the White House is white is far less dramatic. 1792, construction begins on the president's house, designed by Irish-American architect James Hoban. The material? Sandstone from Aquia Creek, Virginia. In its natural state, this sandstone is not white. It's a dull, grayish beige. And it has a serious structural problem. It is extremely porous. It absorbs water like a sponge. And in Washington's freezing winters, that trapped water expands as ice and cracks the stone from the inside out. Without protection, the walls of the president's house would have begun crumbling apart within a decade, long before any British soldier ever arrived. The solution? A thick, lime-based whitewash. Applied directly to the sandstone exterior, it seals the porous surface and waterproofs the stone completely. This is 1798. 6 years into construction is already being painted white. Not for aesthetics, purely as a sealant. The whitewash penetrates the stone's pores and hardens as it dries, creating a waterproof barrier that will protect the sandstone through Washington's brutal winters. By 1800, when the second president becomes the first to actually live there, the house is already white and already being called the White House by locals and congressmen alike. The fire comes 14 years later. The name comes from a congressman's letter 2 years before that. And the white paint? The white paint was always just waterproofing.
Now, the fire did happen, and what came after connects to the name we officially use today. But again, not in the way most people think. Let's keep going.
August 1814. The British arrive at the already white mansion and set it ablaze. The roof collapses. The interior is destroyed.
But here is what the textbooks skip. The exterior sandstone walls survive. They withstand the fire almost entirely intact.
The same waterproofing that protected the stone from winter ice also gave it enough structural density to survive the fire. The whitewash saved the walls. James Hoban, the original architect, is brought back to oversee the reconstruction. His assessment? The surviving exterior walls are sound enough to build on. Reconstruction takes 3 years. In 1817, President James Monroe moves into the rebuilt mansion, and the walls are whitewashed again, exactly as they have been every few years since 1798. Routine maintenance, nothing more. 1 year later, in 1818, they upgrade from whitewash to white lead paint, 570 gallons of it, more durable, longer lasting, still white. The result is a building that looks identical to how it looked before the fire, which makes sense, because white was never about the fire. It was always about the stone.
Here is what that timeline shows. The building was white for 22 years before the fire. The nickname existed for 2 years before the fire, but the name was not made official for another 87 years after that.
October 1901. The new president moves his large family into the executive mansion, its official government name at the time. The new president dislikes the name Executive Mansion. It sounds like a government building, not a home. He prefers what everyone already calls it informally. On October 17, 1901, the president sends an official letter to the Secretary of State formally adopting the White House as the building's legal name.
This is the official letter that adopted the name White House on October 17, 1901.
The name was not born from a fire. It was not born from a political decision. It was born from a construction crew solving a moisture problem in 1798. So if historians have known this for decades, why does the fire story still circulate? Blame the 1990s. Chain emails carried the story. Forwarded messages spread like wildfire. It reached millions of Americans. And it felt true because it was dramatic.
Weird, right? First try.
But the real story was always more powerful. Because the truth is, the fire myth makes the building's whiteness accidental. The real story makes it intentional.
One version is cinematic. The other is true. And they have been competing for the same space in the American collective memory for over 200 years.
A bucket of lime wash. Applied in 1798. That is the entire story.
That's the story.
What?
The most visited building in America. Named for a practical decision made by a construction crew. Mythology added later, by everyone else.
That is the real story. Not a cover-up, a 200-year-old sealant job on porous sandstone that happened to stick, literally. If you grew up with the fire version, you are not alone. Most of America did. That is exactly why this channel exists. History is full of these moments, where the popular version and the documented version split apart completely. Subscribe, because we are doing one of these every single week. One!
In the early 1960s, a glamorous performer stepped onto the stage before thousands of spectators. She approached the microphone and sang "Happy Birthday" to the president.
What happened next and the White House tried to hide sparked controversy. 2! Ha ha ha!
1992. A presidential candidate surprises the nation by stepping onto a late-night television stage, putting on sunglasses, and performing a live saxophone solo.
It was either the most brilliant political move of the decade or a desperate gamble that should have ended his campaign. 3!
Beneath the White House lies a secret network of tunnels. These were built during World War II and expanded throughout the Cold War. Most visitors walk right past the hidden entrance without ever knowing it exists.
The government neither confirmed nor denied for over 60 years. Whee! 4!
Since 1947, the United States government spent 50 years officially denying that a classified military base in the Nevada desert even existed.
Because while the world was looking at the sky, nobody was asking what was actually being built on the ground. That's all? I can't do this, man. I quit! That's all for today, fellas. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next week.